This is the Peter Greenwood Show, and it's not often I get a performer and a director on the show. Could you tell me your names and what you do, please?
Hi, my name is Mary Kennedy, and I star in Hail Mary, None of the Grace. I also wrote it and created it. And
I'm Charlene Ward. I am Mary's director. I started off as a stand-up comic actor. I never wanted to direct, and then I was pulled into a directing gig. Mary found me, and for years and years now, it's been a match made in heaven. Get it, good. Hail Mary.
You know what? I was just processing that. Hail Mary made in heaven. I just got it as you said it. So, Mary Kennedy.
yes,
The show is called Hail Mary, None of the Grace. What is the show?
well, so and Charlene will come in if I don't explain it correctly. But so I was on Shameless season 7
Yeah,
on the
I've
U.S.
noted it.
Yeah,
the new Fiona. I
new
remember
Fiona.
you well.
Yes, everyone, all of me. Yes, and basically that was Shameless, and this show's a lot about my Shameless Kennedy family. I'm third cousins twice removed from them.
Yeah. So when you say Kennedy, literal.
The real.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
He's my cousin.
That fella.
And so my show explores, being brought up in Irish Catholicism, generational Catholicism also, and this is the dramatic part. It is funny. There are some funny bits, but the dramatic part is how does one grow up in a household that has alcoholism through the generations, forced Catholicism in a lot of ways, and how do I become a mom and a woman after living through all of that and surviving. And so it is, I would say it's a show about redemption and survival.
Absolutely, because there's also, and she says this in the show, in addition to generational Catholicism, there's generational alcoholism and there's generational physical abuse that is passed down from generation to generation, and how Mary is able to kind of stop that pattern before it gets to her own children. And it is really, it is an absolute story of survival, and I would call it more of a drama with comedic elements in there, because we don't want to just tell an incredibly sad story. There has to be some humor in it at all, and that's just the Irish way. Anyway, we grab tragedy and make it into a joke.
Yeah, and that's how I survived. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've done the exact same thing. I've the 39 years of being like, it'll be funny in the end. There's a story here somewhere.
Right? Yes.
We'll find it.
Yep, exactly.
So, I'm going to ask this as gently as I can. Being a Kennedy, there's also been a lot of tragedy in the family as well. Is that something that you had to navigate as well as the alcoholism and the other traumas in the family, and what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think, my father David was closer to the Kennedy family than I was. He spent a week in Hyannisport at JFK's, their house there. And my father would say to me, there's a cloud over our family. And so our cloud was like their cloud, except it wasn't as expensive. So it was, so we I think I was born into the disease of alcoholism. My dad got sobriety after 23, he had 23 years of sobriety. When he died, my mom died from the disease. If you look in the lineage, our Irish Catholic lineage of the Kennedys, it's the same stuff. I mean, there's so much alcoholism, there's so much tragedy. And so, I think we both share it. And, it's kind of funny, when we were in Dublin recently, Charlene and I, at 4:00 every day, there was some belligerent person yelling. And so
it felt like home, like a wedding or something, like a family event.
Your genetics are reaching out like, I know this.
Yeah,
right,
we felt very comfortable in Ireland. So, but no, and I decided early on, I mean, when you're a victim, I don't consider myself a victim, but when you are young and you're physically abused, my father was very abusive in his alcoholism. There are days that you think you're going to die.
Yeah.
But I was able, I think, through my family to really, in our sense of humor, be able to see the bright light and to live through what I lived through for 5 years. My father, when he got sober, when I was 10, they actually got divorced and he left and he never hit me again. I think I was able to survive through my humor. And I think all Irish people do that.
Yeah, it is very kind of particularly Irish Catholic, they find a lot of humour. Like my go-to for that is Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, I love him. I worked on his show.
I adore Conan, and that's something I wish to talk to you about because I worship at the altar of Conan. But we'll get to Conan.
Okay.
So, being again, I'm going to ask this as lightly as I can, as gently as I can.
Okay.
Being that you have a famous name, people must think, oh, it's all cameras and flashbulbs, but that's not the reality at all. What was it like navigating that and putting really personal stories into a show like this?
Well, when I was a kid in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is 20 minutes north of Boston, a lot of people didn't believe I was a Kennedy. When I was on Shameless, I did a huge press junket because I was part of the new family.
Yeah.
So we had to do research to make sure that I was indeed related. I knew I was, but JFK's grandfather and my great-great-grandfather were brothers. I've had people in the industry say, well, you're the poor side of the Kennedys. You're the Kennedy who let yourself go. You're like, everybody's trying to figure it out.
So crazy.
It's so crazy.
And rude as well.
And kind of
Who says
rude.
that to
Very
people?
rude.
Yeah, that's Hollywood for you.
I'm
but
so glad it wasn't just me that thought that when you were saying that. That's rude. Who says that?
Well, but the industry, because they're trying to figure out a spin. I think there was sort of this underlying, especially being from New England and Boston, an underlying expectation that they kind of knew what my family was. The truth is we were one of the poorest families in town. Marblehead is like a Greenwich, Connecticut. It's very, very wealthy.
Right.
And my mom was a single mom. My mom had a band called the Mood Swings. My mom played at our local church on the organ, and my mom, made sure that we were, clothed and dressed, and there were days when we didn't have money. And, that made me persevere, but it also gave me some financial insecurity, I think, growing up. So no, it's funny. I got a scholarship in college from Ted Kennedy's office, and his assistant Peter gave it to me, not Ted, not Uncle Ted. So that's kind of my life. I don't know if you, I don't know, what is it like being friends with the Kennedy?
Oh my
Charlene?
gosh, it's so crazy. Well, what's interesting is that you going through your childhood and the trauma of all of it is, even though you were a Kennedy, you didn't have to deal with paparazzi and the constant intrusion of your life, whereas your rich, more famous Kennedy people probably had to endure it. Whether that makes it easier or harder, I'm not sure. But I have a cousin who's a professional boxer. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're his cousin. You must have money." And it is the weirdest assumption that that your adjacent family may have some money, that you also have it as well. So I can relate with your going through that.
Yeah.
So when you were putting the show together, I understand this is a sequel to a previous show.
Yes.
You did. So how did the shows differ, and what did you bring to the new show, Hail Mary, None of the Grace?
So Charlene and I toured for 2 years with a show called Midlife Mood Swing, which was basically born because I was I'm perimenopausal, which means I have hot flashes at any moment. But but we did this thing because we wanted to do a show that would reach out to women who didn't feel like they could talk about menopause. But it did have elements of my family stuff, because in my family, my grandmothers and my mother never talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew menopause was coming. They called it the change, but we had no idea what it was. So we toured with that, and then we started talking with people about Edinburgh, EdFringe, and they said that we needed more of sort of a serious, dramatic angle with the focus on me. And believe it or not, me being an actress and all that, having the focus fully on me was a hard thing. So then we decided to write this and write the way Charlene works is she'll have me write everything, and then it's like a puzzle piece, and we pick everything. And so we picked the dramatic, vulnerable, and then we added pieces from Midlife Mood Swing that were funny, and we sort of taped it together, I guess. Is that what you'd say?
Absolutely. Yeah, we put it together because we didn't want it to be like a funeral dirge. We wanted to make it almost like an Irish wake, where, you talk about the sad stories, but then you throw in, about your kid coming home and asking, about sex.
My son. Yeah, or me on my first time having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you were directing the show, what did you leave out? What did you write down but wasn't included, and were you disappointed it wasn't included?
So I will say that when Edinburgh Fringe, this is our first time here, it has been an eye-opening adventure. So we brought a show that we were like, oh wow, we have to make cuts, and this was even like the couple of days before the previews, because we were like, we're running long, we need to make cuts, and it was more Sophie's choice cuts. It wasn't for anything other than time. Yeah. We had a sexual assault that we cut. Right, we cut that.
The date rape.
The date rape we cut. There was a couple of other little pieces, little lines here and there that we cut, but strictly for time. But in cutting that, we realized we made this into like a perfect little arc in the Catholic like through line that we have there, because in looking back, the date rape had nothing to do with the Catholic theme. So actually by taking it out, it made it into more of a little concise show, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's much more succinct now.
Yeah. And going back to Midlife Mood Swing, which was the one we did before, loved that show, loved it. And I think it would have done very well here at Edinburgh, but I'm very glad that we wrote this, because now I love this piece just as much as I liked the last one that we did. So,
yeah, and as an actress, it really shows my range.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you had to really push, and that's because Midlife Mood Swing was fun. We had songs about we had parody songs about menopause. It was just so much fun, and this really. You didn't really have to get vulnerable in Midlife Mood Swing. In this one, it is almost entirely vulnerable, you know, because you are telling your story. So.
And have you kept those bits? Will there be an extended version of the show at some point? Maybe a novel?
Oh, a novel.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's a novel idea. Yeah.
We love puns here.
Yes, right.
I think, to be honest, Midlife Mood Swing and Hail Mary, None of the Grace stand alone.
Yes.
I think they can be, and it's kind of nice. I have 2 shows now that I can promote and perform in. A novel's interesting. You're probably the 10th person that's asked me to write a book.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
So
that's okay.
No, it's good. No, but I'm glad you did, because, my mom wanted to write a book before she passed. Mm-hmm. And I think, maybe I'll write a book on parenting. Maybe
that would be fun.
That would be fun.
But no, so maybe, it's all true, because people, when they come to me after the show, they go, is that true, or did you make it up? And every single word, pretty much.
Yes.
Some things have maybe been expanded for the stage, but the majority of the stuff is all true.
So it's all as it happened.
As it happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very broad question, but how does it feel being that vulnerable? Do you ever get used to it?
I can feel Charlene's glare right now. Charlene wanted me to really push. And I don't trust many people. Irish don't trust necessarily. I trust my husband. I trust Charlene. I trust my friend back home. We trust, probably on both my hands is who I trust. It's hard, but the benefits and what I can give to the audience, so many people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I've been able to really look at this part of my life, and without seeing this show, I couldn't have. Makes me know the vulnerability is worth it. I think for me, being a trauma survivor, my first instinct is to just put the block up. And vulnerability feels trauma, because you feel like being a kid who's been abused, you're vulnerable.
Yeah, you're almost back in that place
I'm
again.
almost back in that place again, but through a really good therapist and great friends, and knowing that I have control to come in and out of these spots, and it's not going to affect me after the show, makes me know that this was the right time to do the show. I don't know if I could have done the show 10 years ago. There was a point at EdFringe that I woke up and I said, I have to relive my mother's funeral every single day. And then I was like, no, this is good. This is a play. I am a character in a play. And I think, and we'll see what Charlene says, I think I've definitely done what you've wanted me to do.
Oh, absolutely. It was what I did tell her when we were writing everything, and also when we got it written and we started working on the performance aspect of it, I always told Mary that you go as far as you want to. This is your story to tell. I also don't want you to be hurting your psyche every time you go on stage and relive these moments. So we did, get to a point where I'm watching her as she gets into it, gets more vulnerable and more vulnerable, and different parts of the play. And so as a friend, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure she's okay. As her director, I'm in the back going, yes, she's gone there. Woohoo! Because it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And when you have people in the audience who are tearing up and giving her hugs at the end, thanking her for telling her story. Even in Midlife Mood Swing, we had people coming up because she would talk about her dad's mental illness. And they would be like, no one has ever talked about bipolar disorder. Thank you, because I was a kid who dealt with a parent with that. So this one, I think, has a little more in the way of like what people can relate to as far as what they went through. And it's just so satisfying to see people really get so much out of Mary's story. I love it.
I've said this before, and it must be, on one hand, it must be great when people come up to you and are like, yeah, I understand what you're going through, and you're like, oh, they understand, but then you're like, oh, they understand. That must be hard as a performer.
Yeah, but it still makes me feel not so alone.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe this could be another piece that we put in here at some point, there's a lot of secrecy in an Irish Catholic household.
Yeah, you don't
Yes.
talk, you keep it in.
You keep it in. And so, and there are people in my family, I'm not going to say who they are, who aren't pleased that I'm doing the show. Because they don't want the secret out, or their idea of what that secret was is completely different than what I'm saying. So for me, it's good. And the one woman, I just held her after the show, and she sobbed, and
Yep.
she was with her son, and she told me that she stopped the cycle of abuse in her family, and that to me was like, well, this is why I'm doing it. I think as an artist, I think the people who make it, or who have a career, let's put it that way, have a career, are the ones that their art is not just for them. It becomes a very selfless job, and all my work is that. I need to give a message, I need to be able to help, but I also can't be their therapist.
Yeah.
I have to let these people go and go, well, hopefully they have somebody on speed dial like I do.
And I think, yesterday we spoke with another actual Fringe performer, who said that she absolutely related, not necessarily right to the alcoholism, but for the beatings. And so it's interesting how people will come and see these shows and not, like, maybe we'll take one aspect of it, maybe not through Catholicism, but through the abuse, or maybe not through the abuse, but through the alcoholism. All races, all faiths. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like to ask a little bit before I let you go about Shameless. I simply must ask about Shameless.
Okay.
Now, the obvious question you've probably been asked is, what was it like working with William H Macy? But what was it like? It's just between us girls. What was it like?
Us girls.
Billy Macy?
Yeah, no, I've had this
Give us the
conversation.
tea.
Bill Macy is one of the most giving, available, present actors I have ever worked with. It was like going to grad school. There was a scene of us, it was all because I played his homeless family.
Yeah.
There was a scene of us on location in Chicago, and he has this huge speech in front of everybody in the neighborhood. And to watch him work, like his body in front of me acting this piece, to watch the levels, to watch the beats, to watch his active listening, it was amazing. It was truly a moment that I will always remember. The first day, and I've said this in many interviews, the first day on set, I was petrified. This was my biggest break to date. And I was sitting in the makeup chair, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, welcome to the Shameless family. And that was amazing. And then another moment was, I had 2 nude scenes on Shameless. It was the first nudity I had done. And after my nude scene, and I was petrified, I walked out of a shower naked. And it was a closed set, so it was only the director, the cinematographer, and my wardrobe person. He basically, when we all got back into the homeless set where we all were living, squatting, he said, let's give Mary a big standing ovation. She had her first nude scene, and everybody got up on their feet and gave me a standing ovation. That is giving.
Yeah.
Like, he could have just not. Mm-mm. And we developed a relationship over 6 weeks. We talked about marriage, and we talked about kids, and he talked about, working with David Mamet, and he is so accessible. I miss him. Like, I think he's an incredible actor and so giving, and I can't say enough about working with William H. Macy.
There was also, because it was the 7th season of the show, so
right.
Everyone's been together a while. I hear that story a lot. You're together a while, and it does kind of maybe feel like intruding with these people.
Yes, yes.
William made you not feel like that?
Yeah, and all the cast members didn't make me feel like that. Like, they all welcomed me with open arms. I mean, Jeremy Allen White, who has a huge career in The Bear.
That's such a show, isn't it?
Oh, it's so good.
He would be outside after a shoot because people would wait for them to sign headshots in front of our hotel. And he would be out there and he'd be chatting with me, and he's like, how did it go today? And they were and I think it's because those kids grew up on set. Everybody was so great. The cinematographer that I worked with, she was amazing. Everybody, it just was like coming home. And, it's a hard show. I mean, there's a lot of hard subjects on there. Yeah. But I felt completely welcomed from everybody.
Now, that's working with William. So what was it like when Frank appeared? What is the difference between Frank and William? Besides the drugs, the orgies, the overdoses, the alcohol, besides all that.
Frank, you know what? Frank is like my family. Like, I totally felt at home with Frank. And it's funny because we went out to dinner, Bill Macy and I, he took us out to dinner, me and Arden Myrene. And he took us out to dinner and he's like, I'm Lutheran. I don't get this type of family. He's like, it's really out of his. And I go, oh, I lived it. I know exactly. Mm-hmm. And, but Frank is unpredictable. Frank loves his family. He just is, he doesn't have the tools on how to do it. And Frank is definitely a narcissist.
Yeah. He's
totally a narcissist, but he's also desperate. And so his choices are desperate, but they're also brilliant. I mean, it made so much sense for his character to, like, pick a new family. And, like, me being new Fiona, Emmy Rossum and I, or Fiona, her character, we couldn't be more different. The first scene you see with me with Emmy Rossum, I call her a bitch. And she's like, that's new Fiona? Like, even she's second-guessing her dad's choices in that scene. So he was amazing to watch and to work with. Like, he would give you stuff like, there's a scene, the first scene that I'm in, and he sees me and he goes, new Fiona, and he gives me this huge hug. Like, with the family, we have this group family hug. That wasn't in the script. Yeah. So he was,
Is that when he's like, come on, come to Daddy, Frank?
Come to Daddy, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so that's improv. Like, I'm going to do what Bill Macy tells me to do.
I would also do what Bill Macy tells me to do.
Same. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you do a new Fiona spin-off?
Oh my gosh!
Everything has a spin-off. So what if you and Emmy Rossum just take a road trip?
Oh, maybe
that would be so fun.
Well, let's see. Talk to John Wells, the EP.
Can we call him?
Yeah. Hello, John. Hello. Of course. I mean, here's the secret of all that, and what's ironic. Two things were ironic. When I was shooting Shameless, Conan O'Brien shot in the stage right next to him. So there were moments when I could have done sketch on Conan and worked on Shameless at the same time. I didn't, but it was weird to pass where I worked before, and I was a recurring sketch on that show. But it's interesting. I started with the John Wells family on ER. I played Officer Trudy Lang on ER for 2 episodes, and John Levy, who's now retired, a casting director, watched me and called me in all those years. And I would go straight to producers on tons of shows. And then finally this came along, and it was the right thing, and I booked the job. And that's a relationship that I had 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of works, or how you want it to work, I guess, in Hollywood.
And I must also ask about Conan O'Brien, who, if listeners don't know, as I said, I worship at the altar of Conan O'Brien. He is one of my comedy heroes. He's one of the reasons I do this.
Oh, that's great.
What's the scoop on Conan? What can you tell me about Conan?
Conan, first of all, the set is incredible to work on. Every single staff member, AD, director, writers, a lot of the writers direct the scenes. Brian Kiley, who's a dear friend of mine, was one of the writers. He also directed me in something. Laurie Kilmartin.
Laurie Kilmartin, she
Yeah.
is.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal,
amazing.
absolutely.
And so
When's she bringing a show to Fringe?
I don't know. Hello,
call Laurie.
Laurie. How are you? No, but basically, I'll tell you the story. This was my first time on the show, and I was nervous. And they had the Batmobile, okay? And it was on set. We're at Warner Brothers, and the commissary wasn't open. So Andy and him bought us pizza for lunch. Which was amazing. Like, who would do that? Like,
Yeah.
and so we're eating pizza with like Conan and Andy. There's two things about Conan. He is private. Like Andy would hang out with the cast and talk to us. Conan would go into his dressing room and do his work. Then he would come out and I remember I was in an opening segment. I was playing a cop with a Tom Brady fan from the Patriots. And he will say if he doesn't like a sketch. And I remember going back, they say back to one when you're waiting to go on set. I'm standing there and the AD goes, this could be cut. I'm just letting you know. And I'm like, oh. So when I went in, I was like, this cannot be cut. And I like give my best. And then Conan's like, it's in. And I was like, phew. So you wouldn't know that. You think he's, all jokes. But he's the reason why that show and all the whole staff and Conoco, Team Conan.
Coco, yeah.
Team Coco, there you go. That's why Charlene's here. Team Coco. The reason why they're so successful is he leads this ship really, really well.
Yeah.
And he's so funny.
One of the things about Conan is he says he likes, I don't know if it's the exact word, but like clever idiocy.
Yes.
Or some words to that effect.
Yeah.
And I find that such an inspirational thing to come like, as I said, he's one of the reasons I do this, so I like coming in and asking like, so what was it like with William H Macy? But it's also like, so tell me about the show, to have that ability to be able to do so many things, and Conan just nails it. He's been in business since '94, so longer than that. Writer on SNL and The Simpsons, and
Yes.
not what's it called, the Wilton North Report,
I think so, yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, he was a writer first.
Yeah.
So this is the most beautiful moment that I think, and this is why I like him so much. When the Oscars happened and he was hosting, which I
Yes,
thought he
which
did a
was
phenomenal job.
Yes.
Best hosted years.
His writers, since he's now on his own, he brings them back for certain things, but he got all of his Conan writers to be his writers on the Oscars. And that's incredible.
That's incredible loyalty. That I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to do that. He could have said, okay, who are my writers? But he brought them all back, Laurie Kilmartin, Brian Kiley, and so many more. And he kind of brought the Team Coco family back together.
Same as that whole, again, we're going to the history of Conan. It's not about Conan, I know, but most of the writers and the producers have been with him since late night.
Yes.
And he's one of those performers. David Letterman was the exact same, where you get to know his staff, even though they're not on the show. So you'd be like, oh, there's Brian Stack. He's the FedEx Pope.
Yep.
And so some of those people have been with him since late night, to the Tonight Show, to Conan, into Conan without... No, it's not. Conan Must Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's very loyal. Brian Kiley, who I work with a lot, I feature. I'm a stand-up as well, so I'll open for Brian. He'll be the headliner, and he would tell me he would write the monologue jokes, and they'd all sit in a writer's room, and he'd go through, and Conan would be like, "This is funny. This isn't funny. This is funny. This," and I don't know. It makes me nauseous even thinking of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm it's just incredible, and it was wonderful working there too. Two amazing sets. Yeah.
What is next for Hail Mary and also for you after this? Maybe would there be a movie of it? I know you said a novel, but a movie, short TV
Maybe.
show?
I would love that.
HBO, if you're listening.
Yeah,
What's it
HBO
called?
Hill.
A series. I would love this. I think this could be a series. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that. I think. What else? We are actually this was a world premiere at Fringe.
Right.
It was. Mm-hmm. We are premiering it in the U.S. at the Whitefire Theater in Los Angeles. That's happening. I'm also shooting a film as soon as I get home. It's a horror thriller. And then I have another show called, and it's so weird, it's been Catholicism for months.
Right.
I shot a film called Silent Crosses, where I play a nun, and that's doing the festival circuit. And we just submitted it to Paris International Festival.
Wow.
Fingers crossed.
Literally crossing our fingers.
yeah,
here
crossing
for
it.
the listening audience.
So yeah, I mean, Charlene and I are both actors. We both have the same agent. We both have been booked out for a month, I
Yes.
guess. And so when we get back to LA, it's going to be really busy
Yes.
for us. I mean, we don't really get to work with one another in that way. We did on this show about wrestling, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
another thing I wanted to ask about, but time is.
So
yes.
I know, but I'll quickly say that Charlene played Matilda the Hun, and I played Jackie Stallone, and that we got to work on stage together. And
No,
that was a joy.
A lot of fun.
So-
And that's why I'm a redhead. I used to be a brunette. And they said, she's got red hair. And I said, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, and Charlene opens for me, and you'll do this for Hail Mary too. Charlene does about 10 minutes of stand up before I go on stage. She has it for EdFringe.
Yeah.
But she'll do stand up before I open.
It must be a very cool thing to have your agent, who I assume is in LA,
Yeah.
be like, oh, sorry, I can't. Mary or Charlene can't come. They're over in Edinburgh.
They were very supportive, absolutely. And Mary's manager as well,
Who's from London.
they were very positive, so happy that we were going, took us to dinner beforehand to congratulate us on going to Edinburgh. So that's been, and they've been actually lovely to be able to be in touch with via email, while we're here, because learning Edinburgh has been like a master's degree in its own right.
This city is its own experience.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, it's just a festival. It's a festival, but look where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the biggest arts festival in the world, and Charlene and I think every day we learn something new, right?
Absolutely. We get out of the flat, and then we always say we're going to get to bed before midnight. We promise. And we're never in bed before like 2. It's crazy. Whether we're doing social media or flyering or
I'm making you a crumpet.
making me a crumpet.
You've made crumpets.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I got them from Tesco
okay.
Express. Don't get too
A
excited.
little crumpet toasty.
I was going to say, I've never made a crumpet. I don't know. Like, how do you get holes in them? I don't understand.
So you take the toaster and you just put the lever down. That's how we make
That's
a
how you make
crumpet.
them. Good to know. Step 1, pay 79 pence. Step 2, go home.
Yeah,
right.
Go home. Yeah.
I want to know more about crumpets.
I know, well, yeah.
They're so good, aren't they?
They're delicious.
But they're basically just a butter delivery system. It's like,
That is
Oh, yeah.
exactly what
instead
I
of
use
just
it
like
for.
eating a spoon of butter, you spread it on, and
Yeah.
It's more civilized than
Yes.
taking a tablespoon and going right for the butter, which is very keto.
I don't think I could do that.
I could.
Yeah.
there are some people that eat people eat weird things. This is going off on a whole tangent.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
There's fried butter at the
LA Fair, right?
At the
At the
Los
LA
Angeles
Fair.
Fair, fried butter.
I've never seen it, but I've talked to people about it, and they're like, "How does that work? You're making this up." It's
It's a
true,
thing.
Confirmed.
It's totally a thing. Yep,
There you
confirmed.
go.
I've seen it
Confirmed.
with
It's
my
not just-
2 eyes.
It's not just me bullshitting people.
No.
No.
We have. Have you tried the deep fried Mars bar?
I have not. I don't think you can because nuts
No, I
in a
can't.
Mars
I
bar.
tried.
Yeah.
But you could.
Oh yeah, I could. Where can I find this treasure?
I understand that it's a Scottish delicacy,
Okay.
if you will, and it's literally just a Mars bar dipped in batter and deep fried. You can find it at most fish and chip shops.
All right, you know what? Listen, I'm gonna go. Yes,
Okay.
next time because I love myself some fish and chips. Although I don't like chips, isn't it weird? I'm an
Doesn't
odd,
like
very
potatoes.
person that doesn't like potatoes.
To each
So,
their own and to
yeah.
all good night.
So So had
I'll
I
eat those and you eat the Mars bar.
There we go. Yeah.
It's a teamwork. It's teamwork.
Yes, it is.
Now, I feel like you can only have the deep fried Mars bar once in a lifetime. Any more than that, and over you go.
Well, you have free healthcare here, right? So I can maybe get my
the-
hand looked at.
Well, here's the thing. We have the free healthcare. Getting to it is another question.
Ah, okay. There you
See?
go.
Yeah. Any hoozles? That being
Yeah.
said, where can people find out more about... There's no correlation there. I don't do
No,
links very well.
that's okay.
But where can people find out more about you and the show online?
Well, my Instagram, my Facebook is M Kennedy Comedy. So anything, you can find me on a Facebook page. You can find my food on a Facebook page. You can find anything about me on Facebook or Instagram. And I actually talk to my fans, so that's exciting. So M Kennedy Comedy and Charlene.
I'm on Instagram, but I'm a nana. I'm so bad with doing Instagram, but it's under Funny Comic Girl, Charlene Ward. You'll see my redheaded face in front of a Toronto step and repeat at Second City.
Yeah, but you'll if you put in Hail Mary, None of the Grays, you'll find a bunch of stuff. We just had a review come out in the Scotsman. Chris Sparkle also reviewed it, so there's information about the show. And yeah,
Congratulations
Thank
on
you
the
so
Scotsman
much.
review, and
Thank
congratulations on the show. Thank you for your time today.
Of course, this was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you.
Hail Mary, None of the Grace is playing at Eve at Gilded Balloon at Appleton Tower at 20 to 4 in the afternoon, every day until Sunday the 24th of August. For more information and for tickets, go to edfringe.com and search for Hail Mary, None of the Grace. For the Peter Greenwood Show in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Fringe, I'll see you next time.